Are you ready?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Tool to Play presents Still Got Game with Derek D. Smooth Nolan and Joel Dude I Rock Albert.
Hey now! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Still Got Game, episode 21. Still Got Game is the official podcast of ToolToPlay.com. I am, as always, Derek D. Smooth Nolan.
And I am Joel Dude I Rock Albert.
What's going on, my friend? Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you as well.
Almost Happy New Year.
I can't wait, actually. It's weird. I usually dread the new year, but I'm ready. I'm ready to get out there and do some heavy drinking.
As am I. Well, that's pretty much every day.
Well, sanctioned drinking is what it is.
Sanctioned drinking, yes. It's totally acceptable. Like if you're in Vegas, you can drink all day long. It's one of those exceptions to the rule. Like you are right now. Now, before we get in the show proper, I just want to say, anybody that's watching the stream tonight or you're watching this on YouTube, the production value of this show is going to be fucking sky high because we brought in Roger Hitman Roken. He is fucking rocking our shit tonight. He is flipping between our shit. He's got all kinds of stuff. I'm looking at the screen, like there we are in like fancy little boxes. This is going to be insane for you. For those of you listening in the podcast version, the bulk of our audience, it'll be the same.
Yet another reason for you to get out here into the live version. Check us out and see what's going on with moving pictures. You guys can upgrade. You don't have to just do the voices anymore, but you can see moving pictures, people.
Yeah, it's not like radio.
It's not like radio. We moved on.
Technology.
Yeah.
Oh, and people are saying in chat they see two guys in a rocket. That is because you're like 15 minutes behind. But yes, we also have a new Rocket Bros logo that is for those of you who know the history of the show, this started out as Rocket Bros, and then it became Rocket Bros, and then there was a Rocket Bros cartoon, and then the latest iteration was done up by my own wife, Tiffany Electrify Nolan, who has done some copying and pasting and photoshopping, and now we are in a Rocket being Bros. What you'd expect, really.
As it's displaying for all of you guys to see right now.
Rocket. Yes. Rocket Bros.
Yeah.
All right. Well, why don't we? This is going to be a short show this week because once again, it's the wrong time of year for games. Well, it's the right time of year to play games. It's the wrong time of year for anything about games.
Right.
So we're going to try to keep this short, concise, and to the point. And hopefully the show will fill in probably a little less than an hour. So a little shorter than our usual, but it should be good, and we'll hammer through it. So why don't we start off with feedback from last week's show? And remember, if you want to leave us a voicemail, it will cut you off after a minute. Vicky comments. Thanks for using my feedback on last week's episode. I have since gone back and watched most of your previous episodes. Hilarious and handsome. You are the real deal. Now, I am assuming that Vicky is talking about me.
Well, she says you too are the real deal. So you're not even reading the comment.
I did not. See, I left
shame on you. Trying to steal thunder when thunder cannot be stolen.
Okay, well, see, you were just really funny there. So maybe hilarious and handsome was referring to you and then me. Like that's hilarious and then handsome. Who knows?
It's fades, buddy.
Fades. Yeah. Yes, except for your facial hair that makes you look homeless. But I am clean shaven. Little bangs up here.
Yeah, we know you're a Backstreet Boy. You get it.
So that comment's much appreciated, Vicky. We're glad you enjoy the show. We're glad that you are now a viewer, and thank you for filling in our backlog on YouTube because that helps our view counts the older videos.
It does.
YouTube view counts. I'm not even sure how that works because sometimes they go up and sometimes I'm not even sure how do they go down because I saw that happen to one of our videos recently.
I don't know. Is that possible?
Yeah, I didn't think it was either. I thought that was like a thing you just increment and they never go down. But I don't know. Like maybe they're pruning views of people that don't watch more than some amount of time, or who knows. No, but they also don't show up. They show up in the analytics as like a little bar showing someone watch it, then drops off after a short amount of time.
No idea.
So, all right. And the other comment we had this week was the One Ring comments. Just recently checked out your show after I heard some people talking gaming podcasts at a Christmas party. Glad I did. Count me in as a new weekly listener. Now, this sounds like the One Ring. He's a person taking this in the podcast format versus the video format. So we're glad to have you. I know Jay will say that he'd prefer to have you via video, but the bulk of our audience once again is of something on the order of a 300 to 1 ratio are people that listen, or
Right.
maybe more than that, 500 to 1 ratio. So there's a lot more people that listen than watch the video. But what I will tell you, people that listen, is you can always just listen to the video as long as you're not. Well, even if you're in your car, you can start up the YouTube app, start the show, and then just shut your screen off and keep listening. Like there's nothing to say that you can't listen to the audio from from the video.
You don't even have to start up your YouTube app. You can start up your Too Old to Play app, and you can watch it.
Oh, look at that segue!
To play. Oh, who knew it could be that simple? But yes, it can.
Yes, so
If you've
that is
got-
all right in the Too Old to Play app now.
Yes, yes. So yeah, several ways to consume. We don't care which way you come in. We're glad to have you either way.
No. But we are glad to have you. And the One Ring, if you don't mind giving us some more feedback for our next episode, I'm curious as to, well, what kind of Christmas party you were at where they were talking gaming podcasts?
Yeah, that's an awesome Christmas party.
And
It's
second,
we're like involved somehow in some weird existential way where we're being talked about. We're there in the living room with you. We're like, yeah, no, great gaming podcast.
yeah, that's never happened at a Christmas party I've been at. But I'm just curious as to what other podcasts were brought up during this, and if the person that suggested us to the One Ring wants to chime in, that'd be cool too. Because I'm assuming if you said we were good, you probably listen or view.
Right.
So please comment, let us know. And you have feedback. Also, you can all do it at the same place. It's 773-527-2961, podcast at tooledtoplay.com. And in site-related news, Jay, I'm going to leave this to you because you have some major, minor, semi-huge, but maybe not announcements.
Right, yes. Wow, what a really great way to put it. Yeah, and there are going to be more announcements, but basically this is just a precursor. We're going to be sending out an email probably within the new year, coming in this next week, which is a couple days from now. In fact, if you're consuming this after the podcast, I think it will be the new year, because that will be, Wednesday that this...
Wednesday, the 1st, yeah.
So the 1st. But we're going to make significant changes to Tool to Play, and we like to say that because we like to scare everyone away as quickly as possible. But we've been doing the same thing for almost a decade. Gaming has changed, groups have changed, people have changed the way they consume and meet other people. Social media has become a predominant source of hanging out with your buddies and meeting other gamers. So we feel like we are honestly falling behind, that we're not doing our best to make sure that Tool to Play is a place for gamers to meet other gamers. That's going to have obviously some ramifications for how we do things now, but rest assured, the news here is just that we are moving forward. We want to be better in the mobile space. We want to have more content for you guys, but we also want to make it easier for the individual who signs up for Tool to Play to actually meet and find and play with other gamers. That's something I think that is sorely lacking. So that's the motivation for the new year, but we're going to send out, if you're a part of Tool to Play and you've signed up for the website, or if you've been a member for the last 7-8 years, you'll probably get an email in the coming week or so going into a little bit more greater detail. Needless to say that we are putting the gamer first. That's the goal here. Derek and I and all the other staff and Hit and everyone else that works at Tool to Play don't make money. We lose money. We're not in it to make money. We're trying to just build the best community that we possibly can. So that's what we're going to try to be doing again going forward. That may step on the toes of people's ideals of what Tool to Play was. We think that's okay, and we think it's worth it. So we're going to go right ahead and do it anyway. That's just the way we look at things. We've always looked at the community as a project in and of itself, and Tool to Play as a project in and of itself. So that's the motto going forward in 2014. And hopefully you guys like it. I think it's going to be some cool stuff. I hope it's going to be cool stuff. Me and Derek love talking about video games. That's what we want to do. And so we're going to do more about it. We're going to do more of it. That's about it.
Yeah, we put our sack on the table. If you like the look of our sack, admire it. If you don't, well, we're sorry you're not looking at it. There's nothing we can do. It's there. You can look at it or you don't have to. All right. Well, I guess on that, Jay, why don't we quickly slip into what we're playing? And what have you been playing the last 2 weeks?
Well, I'm done playing World of Warcraft, which is nice. I haven't played that.
Proud of you.
Proud. So I actually got Dead Rising for Christmas. Been playing a little bit of that. It's actually pretty fun. I think I'm allowed to say that I'm in the WildStar beta, but that's all I can say. So I've been playing that. It's phenomenal. And I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty as well. So I've actually, in terms of the genres, I'm absolutely all over the map. And I can't say it enough. I actually love it. I love finally being able to get out there and play a bunch of different games that I can finally actually spend time playing. So it's been pretty cool.
On your couch, nonetheless.
Yeah, my couch. Yeah. Not in the PC. It's weird.
very comfortable sitting on a couch, drinking and gaming, and you're spoiled by sitting in a hard chair.
I just get this nice relaxing chair. I don't know. Whatever.
I think there's something good about sitting back on the couch and playing.
There is.
But some things in common, some not. Been playing a lot of Call of Duty Ghosts. Really liking that. Obviously, those of us that started in the Xbox One generation here, we had a couple month lag time in learning these maps compared to the people who've been playing since November. Yeah. So it's that part was a little sobering at first. But now, slowly starting to learn the maps, learning all the sight lines. Because the very first time you play, you're like, "Oh, I'm totally safe. No, I'm dead. Okay, I can just duck down here, and I can just get a no, dead." So getting that that initial like learning curve out of the way was really troublesome. But now, past that, and now just slowly working up the kills, working down the deaths, and eventually I'll be back where I was back in the good old days of Call of Duty. I've been playing a lot of, and this isn't going to be on my list later, but this is the greatest value of all on the Xbox One for anybody that has one is this fucking Power Star Golf. You buy yourself in for $20 and you have such a slew of golf content, and you're comparing with friends, and it's got all these community features, and it is for $20 for a game that you can kill 10 minutes on, or whenever you have some spare time, you finish up Call of Duty, you're playing with your buddies, you're like, okay, I just gotta wind down before bed because I'm all fucking pissed off for fucking that bullshit that happened there. Just wind down with some fucking Power Star Golf. It is, I can't say enough good things about this title. I really can't. And everybody that I know that started playing it has loved it.
You're actually, this is for one of the first times I feel like you're forcing me to, you are talking this game up so much that if it isn't amazing, I'll have to unfortunately never believe you again. So I hope it's as amazing as you say.
It's $20. The only multiplayer it has is couch multiplayer. So if you want to play golf with someone else and take turns, they need to be on your couch. If you want to drive off the first tee and you think you have this monster drive, and while you're driving in the air, you see these little lines on the fairway, and it's like, there's me, and there's all your other buddies that have fucking driven there, and you can see where you stack up, or from 100 yards out, who hit the best chip shot closest to the pin. It's that kind of like competitive game where you're getting little bonuses and XP boosts just for beating your own records, for beating your friends' records. And it's got a lot of golf in there, and there's a lot of challenges, a lot of different, play all these par 5 holes and do this, and to get the maximum XP, finish them all par or birdie or better, and it's really well done. And it looks like
for that amount of money, you really can't lose. I mean, you're not forking over $70, and it's a shitty game.
No, it's $20 for a time. You spent $20 and a lot less. Everybody that's even in the chat room has spent $20 and a lot less.
I would say that's true.
And then over and above that, played a bunch of Peggle 2. Tiff picked that up on the Xbox One. So that's another one of these, super cheap games. You got a couple minutes here, a couple minutes there. Although this one's harder to have a couple minutes here, a couple minutes there. Sometimes it's like 12:30. I'm done playing Call of Duty. I'm like, I'll just do a little Peggle before bed. I figure I got a half hour because usually I go to bed at 1. And then all of a sudden it's like 1:15, 1:30, and you're like, and before you know it, you've sunk an hour into fucking Peggle. So Peggle, I would recommend against. It's just too addicting, too fun. Yeah, it's like World of Warcraft. You enjoy it, but it sucks you in. So that I can't recommend. But another huge recommendation that I've been playing a lot of since Christmas, this came out on the PlayStation 4, is Zen Pinball 2. Now, this is the game that I played a lot of on the PlayStation 3 because it's obviously a pinball game. It's been updated for the PlayStation 4. The graphics are jacked up. It supports 3D if you have a 3D TV. But this is the game that if you bought these tables on the PlayStation 3 or the PlayStation Vita, you got them on each other. And now if you buy it on the PlayStation 4, you get all those tables for free. So we're playing all the Marvel tables. We're playing all the Star Wars tables we had. And it's doing all the friend tracking. These are your friends that play this table. These are their scores. And this is another one of those games, free game. You just buy the tables. So you can't go wrong. You get a PlayStation 4, you definitely want to pick this up.
I haven't touched the PlayStation 4 in a while. I actually feel bad. I finished the single player on Killzone. Loved it, but I just haven't had time to really get into any other games because there really hasn't been anything, solely for that system for me to pick up. So I'm hoping actually, in the coming months when things start coming out for that system, I can actually start playing it. But I'm not a person that's going to buy like arcadey type of game, so it's probably not going to push me towards it for now.
I understand that.
Yeah, for now.
All right. Well, then I guess normally this would be where we jump into new releases, but this is the week after Christmas, and there are 0 new releases this week, which is kind of what we expect. Because if you're going to put out a game, do you really want to get people that are buying Christmas presents to buy it, or do you want people that are buying New Year's presents to buy it? Well, here's the clue. There's no such thing as New Year's presents. So really, any games that you're going to put out, you would have put out 2, 3, not even 2 weeks ago, 3, 4, 5 weeks ago, maybe even at console launch just to get the launch window. So once again, 0 new releases. So what we decided to do this week is, and we definitely did not cover all the categories that you'll want, but we did kind of our best and worst of 2013 roundup. And some of these we're vague on, some of them we're not, some of them we sometimes we have games that we haven't even played that we pick in these categories because we have no rules. We just decided on our own rules. But if somebody comes up with another category that you don't think we're covering, you want to toss it in chat, maybe Hid'll toss in the outline here for us, and we'll hit it on the fly. But we'll start off with our best last gen game. So Jay, why don't we alternate? With each one, we'll alternate who's going to go first.
Well, so you're going to see this a lot from me, which is games that I haven't played, but I still think were the best. And like Derek said, we love our reasons of why we pick things, and they may not even relate to like why you think what we're saying is what we're saying. It's very confusing the way our minds work. So for me, the best last gen game, simply on record sales, breaking numbers, smashing numbers, is an obvious choice, which is GTA. That's simply going on the fact, and again, I've never played it, but without even looking at it, without even taking the time to play the game, I know it's successful. Yep. Very, very successful. For an end-of-life system to do the numbers that GTA did is almost unimaginable by any standard. So for that reason, I find it almost easy for me to pick GTA. Now, Derek played more console games than I did, especially near end of life. So he has an actual game that he's played that he loves. I would pick that as a game that was one of the worst games that I played. But that's just me.
That's just yourself.
But yeah, go ahead. So what was your best?
So my best last gen game was Halo 4, and probably because the campaign really showed off what the Xbox 360 was capable of at the end of that generation. That looked almost next gen for a 7-year-old console. Now, it was hard for me to pick that because despite playing a shitload of Halo 4, I also played a whole hell of a lot of Borderlands 2 that I felt was an excellent game, lots of value, lots of replayability. If you got the season pass, you had all this extra content that kept coming to you. That was a close second, and the other close second I had was Diablo 3 on consoles. This is a game that people hated on PC. Everything was fucked up about it. It didn't please anybody. And when Blizzard respawned this and they put it out for the Xbox 360 and the PS3, they did everything right. It's the fucking definitive version. You got couch co-op, you got all these improvements made to controls, you got rid of the fucking auction house that caused all these problems, and made the game basically a pay to win versus a play for fun. They did everything right in the console version of this game, and it was really a tough choice between those three. But Halo's always my first love, and I think I probably put the most time into that this past year. So definitely my best last gen game.
Games played, I would agree with you that Borderlands would probably make that, since it's a game that I played with you. We had a good time. It's been a long time since that game, when that game had come out. It had been a long time since I'd played a game that I enjoyed playing on the console with friends and stuff. And so Borderlands 2 would be the easy call for me. But if it's a game I never touched and just by numbers, I'd go with GTA. Halo 4 was good. I shit on it just because it's easy to shit on. It's fun for me to do. Yeah, it's just fun, right? Everyone likes to shit on the winner, and it's like it makes a bunch of people angry. Like I did with Call of Duty. You guys know how I am.
He lies all the time.
I just piss people off as much as possible. Like I'm playing Call of Duty while I'm making fun of all the assholes that play Call of Duty. By the way, if you haven't noticed, I'm wearing a Call of Duty shirt as well. Right?
Oh, nice. Look at you.
Look
at you.
Right. So, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of games to choose from, but that last gen for me, just on numbers and what it did, you have to give Rockstar credit. It was pretty amazing.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, then our next thing was most disappointing last gen game. You don't have anything listed here.
Yeah, I try to think about it, and because I don't like to comment on games where if I haven't really put the time into it and really do truly hate it, I'm not going to call a game out. And I didn't really pick up any game that I can recall within last gen that I absolutely hated from the start. Because I generally try to buy games I like, where I know that I'm good. So I don't have one. But what do you got?
I put down a game that I thought I was going to love, and it started out really, I thought I was going to love it, and then it really disappointed me, and it ended up disappointing a lot of people, and that's Assassin's Creed 3. I started this game out, when we first saw this announced at E3 2 years prior, I was like, oh my God, it's set in Boston, this is going to be awesome. It's all this historical shit, and it's all these cool places I've been, but the old versions of them, and it started out like that, but the beginning of the game takes a long time to ramp into the actual gameplay. And the other problem is it was before Ubisoft fixed the save system in the Assassin's Creed games. So I ended up in a point in this game, somewhere between 3 and 6 hours in, where my autosave was in such a shitty spot that I would spawn and I already had all this bad stuff going on around me, and I was done in no time.
That sucks.
There's nothing I could do. And without backing out and restarting that whole thing, I was just stuck in a loop. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm done with this game. And I wanted to like it. And it just from the Boston aspect alone, it had like this, like it was like a handicap. It already had +3 on my scale, but I couldn't like it. And it really disappointed me a whole hell of a lot. So that is my most disappointing game of the last gen. And there's some stuff going on in chat, but we're going to get to some of these other titles that are being mentioned, maybe in some other categories.
Yep.
All right. Best new game, Jay.
Best new game for me, obviously, is going to be WildStar. I've been in the beta. I can't really tell you about much of what's going on. But it feels very nostalgic for me in terms of like how I used to feel about World of Warcraft and other MMOs. So for me, that's the best new gen game that's coming out. There's so many that have that potential in 2014 as well. I'm not going to put that stamp of like this is the game, but for right now, moving forward, that's the best new game for me. What about you?
All right. Well, this is one I couldn't choose because all of the new games I've played are not necessarily next-gen games. They're multi-platform games. They're games that have been they've been out for a while, or they're upscaled games, or games that had come out and then now they're released with 1080p 60 frames a second. So the games I'm picking are games that I've seen someone play, maybe even in this house, but I didn't play myself. And they look amazing. I know that from friends and from word of mouth. You've got Rise, game that was panned by half the critics. The other half of the critics loved it. But I'll tell you, this game looks like a fucking movie. You can't, whatever you say about the game looks amazing. Forza 4, same thing. People can bitch and whine and moan about how they're fucking nickeling and diming you to death over the in-game car purchases and how your credits are fucking devalued and you got nothing coming out of it. But you know what? That game looks fucking the tits. It makes your old racing game look like fucking prepare to qualify. Like it's just an entirely different level of racing game, and it makes the last gen Forzas look like complete shit. Last but not least, Assassin's Creed 4. Tiff's been playing the shit out of this upstairs. I watched her play it. It is an amazing game. From what I've heard from everybody that Ubisoft finally went back, they fixed all the save game stuff. They fixed every complaint that people had. You know, it's too linear. I'm stuck in this. You can just go out and ride a fucking ship all day and fucking whale and kill shit and make shit. They have done everything right. You want to be a pirate? That's your fucking game. Pirate Simulator, 2K14. That's Assassin's Creed 4. Fair enough. I would say those are the best new games that have come out of as of late. But.
Interesting. Yeah. Very interesting, because the next category is most disappointing game. And my game on that list is Rise, in fact. I think Rise is a piece of shit. I have Hitman. I wish we could get Hitman's reaction to this, because he's producing the show as well. He's giving me the "oh my god, you stupid motherfucker" look right now, which is fine. I understand. I played the game. I had a chance to finally get my hands on it, believe it or not, during Christmas. My cousins were over. They have the game. We love to talk video games. They're a little bit younger than me. They love Rise, so they think it's a great game. I played it. I just thought it was so repetitive that for me, how many hack and slash combos can a man do until he realizes he's played the same game for the last 15 minutes over and over again for the last 4 hours? And on face value alone, just playing those first 15 minutes, the game is breathtaking. It's amazing. It's very engaging. I loved it. And then after that, I was like, okay, I don't need to play Rise anymore. That's it. I just need 15 minutes of Rise. If I could just rent Rise for 15 minutes, play it, and then hand it back, I'd give you a 4 out of 4. But unfortunately, I played it for 3 hours. I give you a 1 out of 4. Because there's only so much Rise that a man can take until he's falling.
I guess I saw Tiff play it nonstop for like 4 days or 3 days until she crushed it. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think people get in that monotonous way of playing video games that are addictive and keeps you moving forward, and I think Rise fulfills that very well. But for me, like, I need some sort of like change to happen, or something engaging about the combat that makes me feel like there's a skill level that I need.
This coming from Mr. World of Warcraft 9, 7, 6.
Oh, you know damn well that
six,
rating and
7,
you have
6.
There are people
9.
that are shitty at it, very shitty at it, and there are people that are fantastic like me. So I mean, you know, there's a level of skill there that must be mastered until you can reach a certain.
All right, I can see. I like this where we had the opposites in a category.
Yeah, I mean, this is a game where
No.
What about you?
Well, my most disappointing is something I'm not even sure if it's out of beta yet, but it's Infinite Crisis. This is the DC Superheroes MOBA, and it should have been awesome, but really it just a lot of it feels like just a reskinned League of Legends. It's just, you know, you can when you have that property to deal with, like the whole DC universe, you don't just have to give me characters that have these rudimentary powers that have 5 different skins of the same character and put them out there in the, you know, the 3 lanes type of setup. Just change it up a little bit. I know that League has done it right, but you know, you have such a IP to deal with that you've already bought into. You might as well do this right. And you know what? It's not out of beta yet. There's still time for them to fix this, but I was hoping for a lot more out of it, and I actually enjoyed playing League more than I did Infinite Crisis. So.
Understood.
All right. You have a most surprising game of
I don't have a most surprising game, but again, I think this goes back to the way I purchase video games, which is just that I usually go into it. I wait a while now. I used to be the guy that like purchased a game right away and let the hype suck me in. I don't have enough time to play games anymore, so like I kind of wait. And there wasn't a game that I really was surprised about, or you know, either one way or the other that I thought sucked or thought that was amazing per se. I will go like Steam games seem to follow this with me, or because they're so low pay and I'm just like $5, sure, why not? That I'm often surprised by the quality of the game because I only paid $5 for it. So in that instance, like Tropico and Cities and these PC games that, you know, they're like city builders, city sim games that I was like, yeah, maybe I'll play it. And then all of a sudden I get addicted and play it for 4 weeks or 5 weeks and I'm super into it. Those are the games that I love. The ones where you spend $5, but you feel like you got 50 out of it. So there's sort of a list of games there that come from Steam sales that I'm surprised by, but nothing crazy that is going to blow anyone's mind in chat. What about you? Anything that really like shocked you or that you thought was amazing or anything like that?
For me, it was the console version of Diablo 3. This is a game that, for all intents and purposes, this was the worst thing that Blizzard has done in recent memory.
Not in sales, it wasn't. It was the highest selling PC game of all time.
Everybody bought it, and then everybody hated it.
Right.
And to then go and say, you know what? After everybody hated that over the PC 7 months ago, let's pick this up on the console. Like, it seems like the wrong move. But for the couch co-op fun of sitting with someone, you can do up to 4-player couch co-op. It fixed all those problems that were in the PC version that everybody whined and bitched and complained about. It is just, it was the surprise for me. I really went into it not expecting to enjoy it. And Tiff and I probably played, I don't know, there was one week on the show, I was like, yeah, I played like 31 hours of Diablo last week. Like it was definitely a surprising title for me. And I was quite pleased with it.
So much so that they've taken cue from the game and they're actually closing down the auction house on the PC side. They really seem to take what they did on console and say, oh, wow, people love this. Let's just do everything we did on the console and do it back on the PC. And that's kind of crazy to see that shift happen. So, I mean, I have to agree with you there. I think I should, even though I haven't played the game, I should say that I was even surprised that Diablo did so well because so many people panned the PC version. It really was quite kind of amazing. So I agree there.
I agree as well.
What about your most overhyped yet under-delivering game? I mean, what do you think about that? There's a couple on my list, actually.
Yeah, for
you?
Me, this was easy. And maybe it's not the most overhyped and under-delivering, but it was Disney Infinity. This should have been, take a cue out of the Skylanders playbook. You've got every Disney property to work with. You know, just make a game where these things are important. You can play through, and the games, you bought the game and it basically had 3 different 6 to 8 hour campaigns in it. It wasn't bad. It was a decent campaign, but and we bought a lot of figures for this game, but you really didn't have to. And that was the thing that I think they did wrong. And when you bought them, you felt like you got screwed for buying them because you didn't need to. Like, there were some in-game bonuses or stuff you can get for the little playroom type thing, the non-campaign version of the game that you got from buying the guys. But really, you could have played through with one person from each from each of the stories, from Pirates of the Caribbean, from Incredibles. It didn't matter how many you had, and I just think that they had an idea of what Skylanders, like maybe they saw Skylanders, but no one ever played it, and they were like,
right, they knew it was making a lot of money.
They sell a lot of figures. Let's sell a lot of figures, and after you bought a lot of figures, you felt like you shouldn't have bought them, and like there was no reason for the figures to exist, and I think that was my biggest problem with it. So it was something I wanted to like. It was hyped like a motherfucker at E3, and you know there was that huge section. There was like a life size like pod where you could get your picture taken in a thing. That was one of the bigger not presentations, but the bigger booth presences at E3, and it was a letdown to me. So definitely overhyped and underdelivered.
Yeah, I agree. For me, and this is going to make a bunch of people pissed off, I'm wearing the T-shirt. Call of Duty Ghosts. It's a good game. I still play it all the time. I played it all this weekend. I like the game. It's not a big deal. But for the hype that they brought, Game of the Year, it's going to change the way you play Call of Duty. I think we all should, at least at this point in time in our lives, sit down and say that we know it's going to be just another Call of Duty. And it was for me. It's still a game that I'm playing. I don't think it's terrible. Like I said, I still play it, but it's an overhyped game. Any of these games now at this point, when you look at the reviews and you see 9 out of 10s, 10 out of 10s, and things like this, and then you play the game, I don't feel like anyone can honestly sit and tell me to my face this is a 10 out of 10 perfect video game. A perfect video game, I think by nature, can't be a sequel at this point because it's something you've already played before. Unless they're reinventing the wheel or doing something totally different, don't tell me it's a 10 out of 10 game. I played the game before. So for that, I have to knock Call of Duty. And then in the same respect as to not give one credit and take away from the other, Battlefield 4 was a horrible letdown in terms of the game was not ready at launch. It was a fucking piece of shit. Unplayable by almost any standard of the imagination. Crashed every time you launched it. Couldn't find lobbies. Got into one lobby, dropped from another. Lag beyond all lag. Things were not even ready.
People hanging through floors, their bodies on one floor, their feet are on another.
Space and like, again, you look at reviews. 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, best Battlefield ever. That's bullshit. We're all lying to each other to try to get each other to buy the same game. They both are good games, especially now Battlefield has done a lot of fixes. That's great. You love to see that stuff, although I would venture to say it'd be better to just have a game that worked when you launched it. And Call of Duty is a rock-solid, mediocre game. It is a great middle-of-the-pack shooter and will continue to do so. If you want to play a shooter with friends, especially the run-and-gun nature of Call of Duty, it's fantastic for that. But it's not a 10 out of 10. It's just not. It's not a Halo 3 or a Halo 2. It doesn't reach that caliber of shooter for me, nor do I really think it's possible for it to do so at this point in the game. So yeah, that's it for me. Easy for me, to be honest with you. It's an easy question.
All right. Well, now why don't we go to our best trade show surprise? And I think that this
is easy.
Yeah, this was unanimous between the two of us. Jay, hit it up.
Tom Clancy's The Division.
And what the fuck is this? Oh my god! Talk about impartial media. Every media fucking creamed their pants.
Yeah, I mean that's one of those games where everyone sat down and no one knew what The Division was, and when they left the room, everyone knew they wanted to play The Division. That's a big deal to see a trailer and immediately have the reaction of almost every single person in the room say, "Oh my god, this is a AAA title. It's going to be fantastic." And that's a rarity. That happened like a couple times when we went to E3 and Halo 2 was announced, or when we went to E3, or even this E3, which was really special because it happened with Destiny as well. Games like that where you watch a trailer and you say, "Well, I'm buying that game, and that game's going to be fantastic." And that is, for a game like this, I think people could say, "Oh, Bungie's making a game; it's going to be great." But Tom Clancy, you don't immediately assume it's going to be great. There's plenty of shitty Tom Clancy games.
Graw too.
Tons.
All the stealth ones.
Almost all Tom Clancy games, but I know people love Graw, and people love a lot of Tom Clancy. But for me, this was a game where I saw it and I was like, totally different direction, very RPG style / shooter. I love that. That obviously tickles on my funny bone for
lots of fucking tech.
Yeah, cool tech, cool different ways to do the game. It looks like it's going to be amazing, frankly. It looks like it's going to be an amazing game, and it sort of came out of nowhere. At least it felt that way. So.
And even at E3, when we were in the middle of pure chaos, we've got back-to-back meetings all day. We're coming back to the hotel. We're changing up, showering up, getting off to dinner, and then going to all these parties. We really went through this, and in our hotel room, we sat and watched the Division, the announcement trailer like 3 or 4 more times. Like,
yeah, it was like kids it was like literally we felt like that's when you know a game's hit it right, where you're like you become a kid again. And the only thought is like, oh my God, like, so let's watch this trailer and see like what else we can see inside this trailer that gives anything away. That's a really cool thing. That's very rare at my age and Derek's age. And just how that is it really goes to show how much we love video games. When a game can sort of like evoke emotion of like, I cannot wait to play this fucking game. I have never played it. This game looks amazing. That and Destiny and Titanfall. And there's a lot of games like that are finally coming out that are really getting me supercharged. And ironically, that's what I think gets us both supercharged to come on the show and talk, to, do things like even rebuild tool to play. Those things, games like that, where they really like remind you of how much you love video games, they're a rarity. And so, yeah, check out, if you haven't checked it out, I'm sure you have by now.
No, I can't see
that. Yeah, it's everywhere now. But, re-spark your excitement for that game, because it really looks pretty fucking cool. So, There you go.
All right. I'm glad we agreed on that one, and I think we might agree on the next two. So I'm gonna bust these two out at the same time.
Go ahead.
This was the best gaming news of the year and the worst gaming news of the year. So I'll tell you what I had, and I'm gonna counterpoint them. Then you tell me what you think, Jay. My best gaming news of the year was that everything that changed for the better with the consoles after the E3 announcement. Like, some companies tried to make things better for the things that people were disappointed with about their console. Now, on the flip side, my worst gaming news of the year was Microsoft then backing down on all the great shit they were going to improve with DRM on the Xbox One that would have helped and really innovate. Well, not even innovated, because it's something Steam's been doing forever.
Yeah.
But it would have innovated in the console space.
Right.
And really put these two lockstep. So sometimes the changes they made were awesome, and they listened to the masses, the unwashed masses, and they said, oh, yeah, let's do that. And other times they listened to the unwashed masses, and they shouldn't have. They should have been like, we were doing this right. So it's two sides of the same coin. I guess you can't always be right. If you're going to follow people, you're going to please some and piss off others. But it was the best and worst news of E3.
I would have to agree. I mean, it's too big. That was too big of a issue for it not to be the best and worst, right? I mean, that's everyone talked about, and there was a reason for that. But I agree. I mean, the best thing that I think has come with and this kind of goes to one of our other categories, but just the new system is innovation within the space outside of gaming. And the delivery mechanism and all that other stuff that is inside of gaming that really got announced and got people excited was almost immediately squashed by those same people that were not excited. It was like, yes, this is the greatest thing we've ever seen. Finally, we get digital delivery. Fuck discs for life. I cannot wait to go for the Steam model. And at the same time, there's a guy in a seat next to you, and you're almost both looking at each other like, are you fucking crazy? That's the weird thing, is it was so polarizing that you had people like, woohoo! And then
we're high-fiving, and the guy next to us is like, fuck this shit.
NSA is going to be all up on our dicks. And you're like, dude, it's a fucking console system, bro. Like, just chill the fuck out, right? Like, same guys that are putting tapes over their laptop, built-in cameras because they think the NSA gives a fuck at what they're doing. So, I mean, it was a double-sided coin. It was the yay and the nay of E3, and it continues to kind of be so. But yeah, that's it. It was fun. It made it fun. I think that actually helped make gaming exciting again.
Yeah, everybody likes to fight.
Yeah,
it's not just like Xbox is better.
Right.
PlayStation is better. No, they're like, people had reasons that they wanted to argue over these things, and the companies were like, "Whoa, we don't want to be that different. So let's do a little bit of what they're doing." And then Sony's like, "Oh my God, we're going to stream this no-name shit? Fuck that! All right, we're Twitch too. That's right. Everybody's Twitch. Yes, yeah." Like, everybody moved to the middle, and not to the exact same point, but they moved towards the middle. So now there's less of a differentiation there. So it was nice to see that they wanted to do what was right for most gamers. It's just, unfortunately, sometimes most gamers didn't understand the benefit, maybe because the company didn't tell you why, but why you wanted it a certain way. So
that's very, very true. There was a huge misstep on Microsoft's part, sadly. And speaking of developers and all that other stuff, so what is your best developer this far? And you have your separate reasons for these categories, but
Yeah, why don't we do both? We'll do both categories at the same time. So we have the best developer or publisher and the worst developer or publisher. And I'll handle both of my two, which are flip sides of the same coin. So I can say, every developer goes out there, they try to make the best game possible. So you can't blame a developer. So publishers, or for bigger developers that self-publish, really what you're looking for is how you get a game out there, how you interact with the media, how you interact with the press, how you interact with the community. And I think, everybody would say, EA is evil and this and that. But you know what? Ubisoft, every year we give Ubisoft all kinds of coverage. I felt like they snubbed us a little bit at E3 this year. That's my worst. You know what? We fucking bend over backwards. We go to all your parties. We have a good time with you. We fucking treat your shit. We give it front page coverage. And not because you're paying us, because we like your shit. And, you invite us to look at your shit. We check out your shit. If you don't invite us, we can't check out your shit. We can't say it's good. So fuck Ubisoft. Sure. On the flip side, developers that and publishers that really showcase this, like the want and the need to connect with media and community. Harmonix they're always like a bar above everybody else. This year we didn't even have an appointment for Fantasia, and all of a sudden Tiff's over there. She talks to him it's Disney running the thing and not the Harmonix guys. They talk to some guys that talk to some other. Boom! All of a sudden we're in there trying out Fantasia Evolved. Awesome. Wargaming. These guys. The world's biggest game that nobody's ever played. You have World of Tanks, now you got World of Warplanes. They got TV commercials that show during all your NFL games. These guys bend over backwards for community and for media. They try to give you every asset they need. They're do you want some review things so your people can log in and check this game out and write a review for your site? Come here, we'll walk you through it. If you don't even know what you're doing, you can be on the phone with someone playing through their game, and they'll walk you through it just so you understand what you're doing, so that you're not giving an uneducated opinion of the game. They bend over backwards. They have giant parties E3. They bring people in. And it's not just a party to kiss your ass. It's a party to bring you in and be like, hey, here's some people that you might want to talk to. Oh, by the way, you want to just hang out here and talk to our CEO? He's here. He's available for you to talk to. So they really do the press and media relations right. And so I'll give it to them too. And I think that they both do a great job at it.
Well, I picked Bungie, and I was jokingly picking Ubisoft, and I had that on the list just to make Derek laugh. But in reality, I think Bungie does the best job right now, simply because they finally decided to go their own way. They broke free of the Microsoft hands. They're still obviously working with Microsoft, so it's not like they hate Microsoft or anything. But they have been and always will be extremely community driven. I think they've shown that just. If you go through their library of Halo and how they've treated the community with Halo, some would say that they haven't always treated them the best, but I do think they're always there to listen, which goes along with what Derek's saying. Like, they've treated press fairly well. They like to be very limited in the information they give out. I think that's understandable. So I don't like to say, oh, I hate them because they won't tell me about Destiny. But when they do, and when we did go see Destiny, they were extremely, extremely nice to us. Zarek Deej, one of the guys that actually was a part of Tool to Play from the very beginning, back in 2005, now works over at Bungie. He's actually their community guy. And just, it's fantastic to see that like sort of level of friendship and what they're doing with Destiny and really making the game that they want to make. That's the level of respect that I have for a developer. And that's why they're my best developer out of this, because when I see a developer make a game that they want to make, which may or may not do well. It is a new IP. They could have easily sat on their fucking asses all day and done Halo until they turned gray. They said, fuck you, we don't want to do Halo anymore. And they're building their own game. That's the type of developer I like to see. If anyone's watched this show, all I say every fucking time this show comes on is, I want to see new IPs. I don't want to play the same goddamn game over and over and over again. So when you see AAA people take a risk on multi-million-dollar games that can fail, that's who I love. So Bungie. Simple as that.
Fair enough. And I can't disagree. That's a great choice.
Who do you hate?
Well,
I want to know.
Well, no. See, I already said Ubisoft is my worst.
I know. I mean, and going along with Derek said about hate, you don't hate them because they're all developers. They're all trying. But I had 2K as my worst only because they haven't seemed to have done anything amazing in a while. That's not a reason to really hate anyone. I use that word sparingly. It's kind of a joke. But I haven't seen 2K really perform anything very well. They usually have a booth that has all these amazing games that don't ever seem to come out. I feel like that every year I go to E3, I go to a 2K booth. It's all these games that may or may not come out. seeing 16 versions of XCOM for the past 5 years has sort of soured me and stuff like that. But I just haven't seen anything in a while. Am I
and this year they phoned in an E3. They phoned at PAX East. They didn't even have a booth. They had a news style desk set up that Kona was live streaming. That was just them talking about games all weekend. That was it. Like, didn't show anything. And that's your one that you're supposed to show to fans. So
Yeah,
I see that too. Fuck 2K also.
Yeah.
Unless they're back big come June and then we love you
Maybe
again.
that's their
Invite us
deal.
to your giant booth.
Got
Yeah.
this huge thing, and
Yeah.
we'll see. You better.
All right. Well, why don't we hop over to the best and worst consoles?
Well,
And this is, I'm just looking at our outline here. We have a unanimous choice here. You want to start with best or worst?
we'll go best because I think it's easy. Everyone knows it's probably going to be Xbox for us, community-wise. I don't want to be this, for me at least. Maybe it is for you. I don't want this. This is not a line in the sand. I have both systems. I think they're both amazing. But
and I feel the same way.
Yeah.
I have both. They're both awesome. And then game-wise, they're both
Yes.
6 and 1, half dozen the other.
Exactly.
So it's what differentiates the two. And it's all the things that people whine and bitched about. TV. But you know what? The TV shit's fucking the tits.
Fucking
it's
amazing.
fucking awesome. Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you didn't want it, but I did, and it's fucking amazing. So it's like, if I was stranded on a desert island that had internet, cable TV, and all the games
have that shit.
just
Yeah,
it's a desert
power.
island, but it's got a satellite and a very low ping rating. I don't know how I got there with satellite internet, but that's the console I'd bring. So that's the way it is. That's
All right,
and we
then,
know that. Do we have to even say?
the worst is well, the only thing that would be worse would maybe if you shat out a console and then plugged it into your TV. But even that still might be better than the worst, which is obviously the Ouya. And it's really the oh no. It is the biggest waste of money that I did this entire year. Kickstarted it, so by that point I was too late. I was like, "Oh, you're in? Yeah, you got Ouya, an extra controller." And yeah, fuck you, Ouya. A little Android phone piece of shit on a TV with shitty controllers with huge lag and shit games and a shit app store. Fuck yourselves.
Wow. There you go. That's a real answer. And what the greatest part is I never bought it, nor did I ever have interest in it. So for me, I just hate it from afar. I don't ever have to get into the why I hate it. I just don't. I hated it since they announced it. It's been
Maybe this year I'll bring it to the LAN and we can just hook it up to a monitor there just for shits and giggles. And people are like, well, what is it? Oh, okay. I can see why everybody fucking hates this. But,
We'll get more fun out of it if you bring it to the LAN and we kick it around like a soccer ball.
well, it is that size and it's
that
shaped.
size.
It's like a square soccer ball. So.
There you go. Kick it around. Fantastic.
All right. You have a best overall game?
I don't because I feel like it's too soon. And I know 2013 we've had a lot of games, but there's just too many awesome things on the horizon. Nothing in 2013. The fact that I still played Warcraft, I guess, really shows you that I didn't really think
So that shows that nothing there in 2013 peaked to.
Yeah. So I think this. I feel like now it's obvious since you say it all the time.
Yeah. I went back to the well on this. It's the game that was the most surprising that I played, probably almost as much as I played of Halo 4, which was a rehash, and Borderlands 2, which was as good as it was. It's a rehash. Mm-hmm. I played a shitload of Diablo 3, and it was different enough from Diablo 2, and it was so different than Diablo 3 on the PC. It really just was one of those fun sit-down kind of games, and I can't wait till it comes out with the expansion on the PlayStation 4. That's going to be a definite pickup in this house, and we'll play the fuck out of it. So, you can't complain.
No.
It's not the most graphic fidelity of any game. It is just what I think overall covers, replayability and innovation and learning from your mistakes and doing something new for the platform. I think they nailed it in all those categories. So that's why I'm going to give it my best overall. That's
what Blizzard does well. They're not a graphics company. They never have been. They create games that are fun to play. Period. I would almost put Hearthstone into that. I don't know if you ever did you play the Hearthstone beta?
The cards.
Yeah, the card game. Believe it or not, if I was to actually have a surprise slot in there, that would actually be one of them as well. Again, I wouldn't play it all the time, but for a game that has no graphics at all, it's a card game on a computer. It's fun. That was a big surprise at PAX East this year. No one knew what Blizzard was announcing, but it was
It was weird.
And we joked about it, and I guess they've got like, in beta alone, they had millions of people, and people were buying betas on eBay and stuff.
Oh, I'm in the beta for that.
Yeah, I mean, now it's actually open now. You can.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I stopped playing.
Yeah, but it is an interesting game, and it got people really excited, and they're having tournaments, and it's becoming an esport. You think to yourself like, holy shit, this card game's becoming. They do that stuff really well. They make games fun to play. So, going back to the well for the surprise, of course, but it mirrors what you're saying about the overall best game of the year that you have so far.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Now, worst overall game I didn't play that I was going to play.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm using my street cred card to be like, I would have played this if it didn't blow. And that's Aliens Colonial Marines.
It's a shitty.
When we saw it at E3, it was awesome. We even played the multiplayer there. We had a good time. We played against the devs. We had a good time with it, but it was not the game that was released.
It was not the game that was released, and I had a sneaking suspicion it wouldn't be good. When we finally got our hands on it, the multiplayer felt a little janky, and the way that they were talking about it, the devs were talking about it, it almost felt like they were trying to convince me that the game was going to be good, and then at the same time convince themselves. They were wrong. The game was shitty. It's that simple. Having said that, there are so many games that failed in 2013. This is, I think, the one that just sticks in mine and Derek's heads because we saw it at E3 and thought it might be good, and it turned out being the opposite. So it's very easy to point a finger at it. But for me, I mean, to really sum up what I think about 2013, it was a very meh year, and there are these gems in there like Diablo and that really shine through. But there was a lot of games like this that had a lot of potential and just seemed to fall flat.
The focus was on the consoles, and it was on you were going to be a first party or a first party partner launch title, or you were 2014. So there was, and if you were a last gen title, it was tough pickings for you there. Like you really didn't want to have to be a last gen title in 2013.
No,
but it is what it is. And then we just have some fun categories here. And this is for the entire last gen. You have a last gen game or series that you wish you had played.
Oh, GTA. And eventually I'll get to it. I mean, for me, that's easy. It's a game that sold what it sold and did what it did. I feel like I should have picked it up and played it. I'll even put Far Cry on there as well. Far Cry was, for all intents and purposes, a rock star of a game. People loved it. I did play it, believe it or not, even though it's games I wished I'd played. But I never gave it the time that it needed. And so I feel like it's a game that I wished I would have played all the way through. They did a really great job with it, especially on the PC. It looked absolutely amazing. It looked truly next gen. But I just didn't have time. So those two games are lingering as well. And then, of course, on the PlayStation 3, because I didn't own it, Last of Us.
Last of Us, yes.
I mean, it's been talked about like it's the greatest game that's ever happened to any human being that's played it. And I never owned a PS3. I'm definitely not going to buy a PS3 just for that game. But if there is a backwards compatibility that ever comes to PS4, that'll be the game that I pick up. So there's a lot.
If that game ever gets up-res, that's a great game to pick up. That's one that I'm sad that I got to play at a trade show that I never got to play.
Yeah.
Because I was so sick of last gen, and it came out right at the end of last gen that I would have loved to play that. But I actually put down the Fallout series, which is something I didn't play any of the 360 Fallout games, and I wish I had. Like I've heard such good things from people that played through them, but. Never played any of them, but I would, who knows? Maybe someday they'll release a next-gen Fallout anthology, and I'll pick that up.
Yeah. They love to sell you the game you've already played anyway, so I'm sure you'll get your wish. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, true. And I guess last but not least in this category is our most anticipated next-gen game.
I think that's just for me. Yeah, for me, WildStar. You guys see it tagged on this stream. It's always tagged. Because we like to trick you guys into thinking that we're actually playing WildStar. I am. But that, to me, is the most anticipated game, followed right behind, of course, Destiny. So you've got two games, and it's funny because those two games they don't connect in any way. They're vastly different. One's a console game, one's not. Those two games sort of invoke the spirit of next gen for me. They're both doing things very differently. They're both visually, I think, really appealing to me. And then at the same time, they're both made by companies that I love. So they seem to be in the perfect storm of what it takes to make a great AAA title. Those are the two for me.
See, I have a bunch of titles that fight each other. Now, the one, if I had to pick one to eke ahead of the others, it's probably Titanfall. It's so awesome, so huge, great scope, completely innovative use of human combat, mech combat, not slow mechs, but this entire, like, it seems like they got the blend right. Like, they put it all together and they're like the right amount of this and the right amount of this, and now it's fucking delicious. But super closely followed both by Destiny and Halo Next, whatever they're going to call the next iteration of Halo. But 343 showed great stewardship in the Halo franchise with Halo 4, so I'm not going to count them out. And Bungie, Destiny looks like, you know, this awesome first-person shooter, Halo style, but not Halo, meets Borderlands with leveling shit up. And so just 3 games, same basic genre, 3 different takes, 3 entirely different types of gameplay, all very exciting to me. All 2014 titles at this point until something gets delayed. So it's going to be a bitch of a year. And unfortunately, you talk about, you've already bifurcated your audience between Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Now you're going to take your Xbox One audience and you're going to trifurcate that between 3 different titles. So
yeah, it's going to be very different.
Forget ever playing with your friends.
I think isn't that what we've learned? I think that's why it's so hard for us to keep Tool to Play going, because all we do is we just segregate our friends as much as humanly possible. Which is sad, but you know, I mean, that's where good games come out of. We need the competition, sadly, in order to make great video games. Sucks, but it's true. So yeah, I agree with that 100%. Except for the Halo thing, I don't care about Halo anymore.
All right.
You got that.
Well, I guess that's the bulk of our wrap up. And now normally we would go into new releases, and I even had picked out some news stories this week that really are not. There's no real news. Like, I picked out news stories that I was like, you know, this could be a news story, but there's not really any news this week. So that is the bulk of the show for this week. So I guess on that, we'll just jump right into the mailbag and voicemails. Blue Steel asks, now that the Christmas noobs are online, have you noticed any difference in multiplayer gameplay on either the One or the PS4? I'm hearing complaints in Ghost on the One about lag. I haven't seen any change in lag. I've seen a change in, and maybe, I don't know if things got easier or harder, or I think that the better players are starting to come online, the people that couldn't afford the Xbox One at launch, that ended up the punk kids that got it for Christmas, but that have logged hundreds and hundreds of hours a week playing Call of Duty. But yeah,
I don't know. I love this question, because what I think happens whenever you see something like this is one of 2 things. You get, like Derek said, you get really great players that finally come online. And it doesn't matter that you've been playing these maps for 8 days and they haven't or whatever. They're just better than you are at video games. And so what immediately happens in the male mind of a gamer is you have to justify the reason that you suck. And the reason that you suck is clearly because of lag. It has nothing to do with the fact that you are just bad at video games.
Or you have a job and they don't.
Or you have a job, whatever reason you need. And so you hear these stories of lag, and like, I love my brother to death, and sub T, he's probably gonna be pissed if he doesn't watch the show. He loves to say that Call of Duty is his favorite game of all time. But at the same time, he loves to be the one that says, fucking lag, this is bullshit, lag, whatever. I understand that there is, in fact, hit scanning and all this shit in Call of Duty that makes it a piece of shit game, right? That people don't like it or whatever. But the hit scanning also works in your favor, just like it works in the other guy's favor. You eventually get host and you get that same benefit. Everyone gets a shitty game every now and again. And then at the same respect, they get a great game where they go 50-2. The lag is just your way of saying, I'm not as good as I used to be, or maybe I'm not that good. Now, yes, the game probably does lag. I totally believe that. And with an influx of players, it certainly stresses the servers more than normal. Do I believe that it's actually why you're being bad? No, I probably not. I think you're just playing shitty that day. Maybe you should not play all day and take a break and do something else with your time and come back and pwn some Christmas noobs. Because overall, when a bunch of new people come on, my kill death ratio goes, I do better. I go up.
I do when it's real new people, but unfortunately, a lot of the new people that I think have come on, it's the same thing you notice, like if you're a late player here on the East Coast. So I usually get on around 8 o'clock, you get your warm-up game, you start kicking ass all the way until somewhere right around midnight. And then right around midnight, and granted, it could be you had a bunch of drinks and you're getting tired, or it could be the West Coast people are coming on. And then all of a sudden there's this fresh batch of shit. And you're just like, oh my God, I suck. Fucking bullshit. So I don't know what the right answer is. The only thing I do know is that those us with jobs cannot afford to put in 20, 30, 40 hours a day. For those of you doing the math, that's more hours than a day. But no, in all seriousness, let's say you're a kid. You come home from school, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. You play until dinner time. That's 3 hours at a clip there. You eat some dinner. You do an hour of homework. You put in 5 more hours before bed. You're talking that's an 8-hour day of Call of Duty. You multiply that through the 5 days of the week. That's 40 hours right there. Then on the weekend, you get in 2 12-hour days. Boom, boom, at least. So now you're talking 68 hours of Call of Duty versus somebody with a job, gets home, has kids. You're getting maybe 3 hours a day. So, there's plenty of reasons why you suck, but that is not the reason.
It's one of the reasons. I mean, sure, there's laggy games. I believe that 100% of the time. But I mean, is it has Christmas created this unstable network which is accounting for your shittiness?
No, certainly not.
I don't think so. Could be wrong.
All right. And Altius comments, not asks. I know in the last few episodes, you guys have called me out as my questions have become an unofficial part of the show. Thanks for the kind words and Merry Christmas. I'm on vacation for 3 weeks, so I've got nothing for you. See you guys in the new year. So it would have been nice if Altius had told us this prior to the show because we kind of count on him throwing us a go-to question for the end. But then again, we filled an hour here with nothing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But Altius, we are very appreciative of you and everything you've done for the show. Every week you come in with a question. It's something usually neither of us would think about because it's something obscure or from some other point of view that we don't, like Jay and I, sometimes we have the same brain.
Yeah.
And we disagree on things, but we usually are coming in from the same basic angle. So it's nice to get somebody's fresh questions from an entirely different point of view. And we do appreciate the help you give us. And like I said, if you ever want a prize, you just let me know and we'll find something in the prize bag for you.
Definitely.
All right. Well, if any of you have feedback, give us a call, 773-527-2961. Email us at podcast@tooltoplay.com. You can also comment on this episode's thread on the Tool to Play homepage. And sponsors, remember, if you want to sponsor the show, which would be helpful, give us a call, same number, 773-527-2961. Email us, podcast@tooltoplay.com. Tell us what you want to sell. We'll tell you what you're going to pay us. We'll sell it. You pay us. Boom. Done. Twitter us up. You can find everything Tool to Play related at twitter.com/Tool to Play. Everything podcast related at twitter.com/still_got_game. I, king of the internet, got of everything that's fucking holy. I'm at twitter.com/Derek Nolan.
And in a calming fashion, you can find me at twitter.com/dudeIrock.
Facebook the fuck out of us. Facebook.com/Tool to Play. Facebook.com/Derek Nolan.
Facebook.com/dudeIrock.
Also, hit up our YouTube channel. Hit up youtube.com/Tool to Play. Subscribe. You will get every episode of this show, every episode of this other show that sometimes happens like once, twice a year called Thick and Thin. Sometimes there's some other shows that show up there, some one-offs, just some great content. Hit's got hits, shits, or quick hits, or whatever he's calling hit shits, whatever he's calling his show these days. But he does, like when a new release comes out, he's boom there the first night, he's streaming that shit, puts it up on YouTube. Lots of great content. If you don't want to have to always check YouTube, just subscribe and you'll get a little notification. It's not invasive. It's not like you need to watch this now, but it at least lets you know there's new content there for you to check out, and it helps our numbers. And the more people that watch, the better for us. And the better for you because we have more incentive to make good content. Like if we didn't have all the podcast listeners in the show and we're only doing this for like the number of people that watch the video, it would be painfully horrendous. But we know that those people are there and they're listening. So that makes it all that much easier to stomach. So the more people that watch via video, it just makes it all that much better for everybody all around. And then we can afford to alienate some of the podcast listeners.
Plus, you get to look at what Hit's doing, guys. He's making a fantastic show for you. Now he's become the leading producer of the show. He's amazing, guys.
He is the best producer we've ever had.
Ever. He's the only. But still, it's the best that we could find.
Yeah, he is my favorite producer that we've ever not paid.
Love
it. All right. Also, download the Tool to Play app. It's on the iTunes store. Go there, search up Tool to Play. Download the app. It's got quick links to all the Tool to Play news on the homepage. You can browse the forums. You can not post, but you can browse what's out there. You can check out all of our YouTube content right from that app. So you got a smartphone. It is your way to connect with Tool to Play, and there's going to be more features to that coming soon. Also, please rate and review the podcast in iTunes. Jay, how many stars should they give us in iTunes?
15 stars. You can't even do it, but you got to hack the system, and you should.
Now, if you're not hack savvy, 5 would be acceptable. If you are, at least 15. Because if you've already hacked it so you can put in 15, just fuck it. Just go for 100. We don't care.
First of all, you are doing a great thing. You're a truly amazing person.
Apple's pretty locked down. It took like 6 months for a jailbreak here. Okay.
Right.
So, so definitely give us 5 stars. And if you have a couple minutes of your time, now this is just me talking to you, the audience, but this show has gone through 3 different names. It was once Tool to Type Radio. Worst name ever. Jay picked it. Then it was Gaming Under the Influence, which was a great name. But then we were an audio only show, and then we conflicted with another show that stole that name for video. So that is how we ended up now being Still Got Game. What we need from you, because we've actually created new feeds on iTunes. We don't have all those old 5-star reviews. We don't have all those nice write-ups that say why you like the show, what makes the show good, why you like to listen in the car, why it made your life better, why it, healed your fucking, your arm fell off because a shark bit it off and it grew back the next day when you're listening to the show. Whatever it was, it doesn't matter. But you need to put that in iTunes so other people can learn from your non-mistakes. And I think that's really what we're trying to get out there as a message is let people know why this show made your life that much better and make their lives better at the same time. Don't you think so, Jay?
Great. It's a message of hope, people.
It really is.
It's a message of hope.
And by giving others hope, you give them everything they need.
Exactly.
Wow.
It was horribly said, but yeah. Well, hope.
that is our infomercial. All right. Also, last but not least, please join us live each and every Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/tooltoplay. You can join in. As you saw here in the show, there's a chat room here that's fucking nuts. It goes apeshit. You can put in your comments to the show. You can change the direction of the show if your comment is that good and crazy enough. You're just like, oh, let's take it over here. And we're like, hey, fuck our outline. Just throw it over the shoulder. We follow what you say. And we do like your feedback. We like to rock along with that during the show. And you know what? It makes it more of a community thing instead of us just talking to you. It's more like a town hall where you're providing us input, and we may be sitting at the front table, but your input's important to us, and we do like to gear the show for you. And Jay is silent as a fuck.
Well, I'm actually watching Hit's masterful way of showing off the chat as you're telling people about it. And once again,
and you got mesmerized?
He's an amazing producer. Why aren't you guys watching this show live? It's amazing. God,
it is.
Damn it.
All right. Well, I guess on that, why don't we wrap this episode up? I am Derek D. Smooth Nolan.
I am Joel Dude I Rock Albert.
Happy fucking New Year. Woo.